Philips have a new LED light called a warm glow, which is a dimmable LED light which is said to mimic the dimming of an incandescent light. So I've got a couple of these. Let's compare them to a regular classic LED light and see if they live up to their claim. Coming right up. So what I'm going to show you guys in this video is, and this is completely unbiased, as you can see, I'm showing you my bill of sale here, just to prove that I bought these at retail. Just wanted to show you guys that I bought these at retail. I bought 6 light bulbs. So it was $51, including the eco fee and tax, for 6 of these Philips. These are called Classic Glow, or Warm Glow, Classic Glass Warm Glow. And these ones here were the EcoSmart 60 watt. And the difference between them is, well, these ones are made to look like vintage bulbs. How they do it is they tint the glass to give that glass a kind of a yellow coating to them. I've got some in operation, so we're going to take a look at how these operate and which ones may be a better choice for you. I was initially going to go with a full incandescent solution using the classic incandescent lights with open filaments because I think they look cool. The problem is, this is my dining room area, and there's times where we actually like to be able to do something other than eat dinner, like maybe read the newspaper. And at 240 lumens per bulb, they just were not going to be bright enough. Even with 6 of them sucking back 60 watts apiece, they weren't going to be bright enough. I could tell that right by just looking at them. So I wanted to use the Philips Warm Glow because, as you'll see, they actually warm up when you dim them down. But the first store I went to they only had 1 box of them. And they were going to be like a month before they got another one in it. So I went to I bought these ones, and these ones are actually very nice. But even at 500 lumens each, I'm finding that they might not be quite bright enough. I was reading the newspaper, and I thought, I'm struggling a bit here. It's really not that bright. Anyway, enough of me bantering about these things. Let's take a look at them in operation. I've got my 2 light fixtures. I've got 3 bulbs in 1 fixture for this light and 3 bulbs for this one. And I'm going to actually iris the camera down so that we can actually see these things in operation in my light fixture. They've got clear glass on them, but you can see the filaments. So let's take a look and see how they operate and look at the differences between the two. Okay, now one of the advantages to using this camera that I'm using, and I'm shooting this in 4K so that you guys get all the detail, is that this is a professional camera and I have full control over the exposure. And other people that have tried to do this before using their home cameras, well, they haven't had much luck because they really don't have a lot of control over their exposure. But the light we're looking at now, this is one of the EcoSmart bulbs. As you can see, it looks yellow as opposed to white. If I zoom the camera back, you'll see the other fixture here has the Philips lamps in them. So if I just frame it up here a bit so we get both of them. Now, of course, the Philips is going to be out of focus because it's closer. So I have to roll my focus to bring this one into focus. Right? But you can certainly see the difference in the brightness there. And I'm just going to put it in like a bit of a sweet spot there because I'm going to run the dimmer down. And then you'll see the difference in how these things dim down. And you'll find that the light on the left is not going to go out completely. When I turn the dimmer all the way down to minimum, it's going to get dimmer, but it's not going to go out, which is a characteristic that a lot of dimmable LEDs experience. Now, this dimmer that I'm using this on is not a special certified LED only dimmer. This is a Lutron universal dimmer. It's a manual dimmer, and it says it's compatible with fluorescent, LED, and incandescent. So it's not one of the special $50 or $60 dedicated LED dimmers, but it is one that is certified to use with light emitting diodes. So as I dim the dimmer down, watch what happens. I don't know if I can see the camera here. Let's see if I can Yeah, I can see the viewfinder. Okay, I'm going to dim the lights down. And as you can see, when I dim them right down, that's the dimmer all the way down to nothing. But these other lights are actually glowing still, and they're actually glowing quite bright. And here's the Philips coming on. So the next thing we're going to do is I'm going to put the camera, I'm going to take my exposure control, I'm going to put my exposure control to automatic, just so you can see when I dim the lights down, this will allow the iris on the lens to open. So I'm just going to go back to automatic exposure. We're back to automatic exposure. I'm still shooting through an ND3 filter. Okay, now as I dim these down, you'll start to see what happens here and how bright these other ones are still actually glowing. They're actually quite bright by comparison. Yes, it's dim, and you may not want to dim your lights much more than that, so these lights would be perfectly acceptable for that, but compared to the Philips that will go out completely, so now let's concentrate just on the Philips. For this shoot, I'm going to start with the lights completely out. And what you will see as I start to raise the dimmer, the Philips have 6 LED strips, or 6 filaments in them. They have 4 filaments, which are the high color temperature, the 3000 Kelvin or whatever they are, 2700, 3000 Kelvin filaments for your full brightness. And they have 2 which are like the 2200 for the dimmer version. So as I bring the dimmer up, you'll start to see the 2 filaments glowing, one on each side of the bulb. So that's what we can see now. And these are quite dim. I've got the camera iris down too, so as I bring these up, I just want to be able to demonstrate the way that these things come up. If I move the camera over, you'll already see that the other ones in the background are actually quite bright by comparison to these ones. These ones are barely glowing, okay? Barely glowing. This is like looking at an old filament incandescent bulb where it's just barely glowing at all. And I can turn these right down even lower than this. Right? Now I can barely see the light at all glowing. And, well, the camera's not even showing it at all. It's so dim. But they actually are very, very faintly glowing. As I bring the dimmer up, as I continue to raise the brightness, watch what happens. Saved by the bell. Okay, continuing. As I continue to brighten the lights, you will see the other lights will start to actually glow at the same time. And these are of the higher color temperature. So as I continue to increase the lights, now the low color temperature lights are almost at full brightness now. And here the other lights start, right? You see them start up? And as I continue to increase the brightness, they will continue to ramp up. So now all the lights are going, but I'm not at full brightness yet. So all 6 of the filaments are glowing. As I continue to increase the brightness, the lower color temperature, the ones that are more orange, will actually go out. So as I continue to increase the brightness, you'll see that the other ones will actually drop off as I get to full brightness. Okay, yeah, as these dim down, and I've got it framed so that you can see the other ones in the background, how much more yellow they are. And I have not white balanced the camera. And that's the next thing. I'm gonna set the white reference on this camera. We'll white balance it so we can actually see the color temperature change, because right now the camera is in auto. So I'm gonna white balance it, therefore we can actually see the color temperature change. Okay, now I've set the white balance on the camera, so it's set to a white piece of paper sitting on the table. But now you can definitely see how much more yellow the EcoSmart bulbs are that are on the left side of your screen. And now as I dim this down, we should be able to see what happens on the Philips ones. Right? if I put the camera back in auto expose, or maybe open the iris just a little bit more so that we can see it as it dims down. You can see how yellow they get. They almost look the same as the other ones. Looking at them right now with this brightness level, they're about the same color temperature as the ones that have got the yellow tint on them. Except for they go out completely, whereas the other ones don't. Next test, I'm going to replace all of the other ones. I'm going to put the Phillips bulbs in all of them, and then we'll look at some actual pictures with the white balance fixed on the camera so we can see the color shift. Okay, this will have to do. Some not quite ripe bananas, which are still kind of green, a calendar, and this bobblehead thing of a football player. Okay, let's take a look at what happens now. I've got the 6 Philips warm glow lamps on here. Let's take a look at what happens to the color temperature. I wasn't even all the way up either on the lights. Now I am. Okay, let's take a look at the color temperature as the lights dim. And when they go right out, well, that's just ambient light leaking in from the other room. But so as I bring these up, you'll see that the light starts out really quite nice looking, like an incandescent bulb. And as the brightness comes up, the color temperature also comes up. That is really cool. I mean, this is, I don't know how well the camera shows this off, but they've got it down pat. They've got it down pat. As I dim this down, you can see it getting orange. I'll take another shot here of something else. Here's a shot of the coffee pot. And as the lights dim, as you'll see, it's getting orange, although the light from outside is kind of spoiling the effect on this one. This shot, this wall incidentally is blue. It is a light blue. As I dim the lights, I want to make myself in the shot here. As I dim the lights, and bring them up again. Watch the wood. Watch the wood tones come up. Anyway, that's it. That's a quick demo of these warm glow LEDs by Philips. Hope you enjoyed this video and hope it makes your choices when buying light bulbs a little easier. So and I hope they've got the bugs worked out, because I've had a lot of problems with LED lights and compact fluorescent lights in the past, but they're starting to get, I think, a little more mainstream, so hopefully they will be a little more reliable. Again, here's one last look at them dimming down. The camera is on auto expose this time, so as I dim them down, the iris will compensate, and you'll see the other filaments kick in and get quite orange as they go all the way down to nothing. Fade to black.